Welcome back to Close Encounters of the Tech Kind. I'm John, coming to you from an even more remote location than last time. Starlink is not functioning for me today, so I might glitch in and out a little bit. Beg your indulgence as we do this, guys. This week, I want to talk about a couple real hot button issues. It's a robot vacuum that a researcher, uh, you've seen like Roombas and iRobots, they run around clean your house. This guy found his house was being mapped and the entire telemetry sent off to the manufacturer. We'll get into that. Microsoft, and not to be outdone by Amazon, decided to shut off their DNS this week in massive outage. So I don't know who's competing for first place, but I think we're all losing. Data centers. Maybe the issue with that has been the water that they're using, and there's been some issues there. Jackson, you brought that up.
Yeah, Amazon hasn't been exactly very transparent as far as how much water they're using.
Water's a very
That's going to
transparent
be a fun
thing.
one.
Not for Amazon.
Well, and then just to bring it up, since we're all subject to laws, I do want to talk a little bit about some VPN laws. And some foreign countries are coming up with some interesting laws. I want to bring that to your attention too. See your thoughts on this. Punchline is, if you're a white hat researcher, you find a vulnerability, you have to report it to the governing agencies. Good idea, bad idea? Let's get into that. But before we start talking, I suppose I should give both you, well, all three of you, a chance to introduce yourself. So, hey, Mike, how you doing?
Hey, pretty good. What's up?
Jackson, what's up?
John? This guy, I don't know.
Well, and keeping the wings on the plane for this flight, Artie.
That I am.
You'll see him pop out from behind the screen every once in a while when he's talking. So let's get into this first one. We got robot vacuums using Google Cartography, which is an open source project, to map out your house. That's great, right? So it's not going to run into the ottoman. It's not going to run into, water coolers, refrigerators, anything in your kitchen. It's not going to run into the toilet. Researcher, and Artie, you got the lead on this story.
I do have a little bit on it. Guy was curious about feeling a little paranoid and curious about what his new robot vacuum was doing with the internet. Decided to monitor the traffic and found that it had been sending data outside of where he lived. So he didn't like that, and he cut off telemetry, and his vacuum worked for another few days, and then it died. It wouldn't work. So we sent it in, had it looked at. Works fine for us. He gets it back. Same thing happened. A few days later, it dies. He discovered that the device itself was readily accessible to, he didn't need it to crack it or anything to look at what was going on inside of it. And the device had basically been sent a kill code to shut down from the company because it wasn't receiving the data. And the timing...
It wasn't a dead man switch. It was a kill code.
Yeah, and the timing coincided with when his device stopped functioning.
So, like a good researcher with a healthy sense of paranoia, which, let's be clear, guys, you can have a healthy sense of paranoia because there are lots and lots of people out there to try and scam or get you or do something. He got into it and he found the most rudimentary Linux-based system out there. With very little, and Artie, let's put this in the show notes, the link back to his write-up on this, because wow, that's really, really detailed.
Okay.
researcher found it was easy to log in.
Mm.
You just plug in and you're in.
Oh, wow. No password?
I don't want to mischaracterize it, but it was so simple that script kiddies could log in.
Oh.
And then he got in and he looked at all the telemetry, saw where the data was flowing, and so the kill code, he just turned it back off. So now his robot works just fine. So the question, you buy a $300 vacuum. Do you expect it to talk back to home base, to HQ?
No. No.
Only
Uh,
only for firmware updates. Like if home base figures out, oh, there's a bug in the code, there's a security flaw, we need to patch it, update it. I would expect that.
do we know what company it was, the vacuum? Are we able to call that out on
I did not see
I
that.
don't want us to call it out. I don't want that target on us. I want to be,
That's
we'll be
fair.
polite, white hat.
Since when are we ever
But
polite?
yes,
You're
the
welcome.
brand
Page
is called
of
out.
just a prominent one. I don't know.
Okay. Well, this is really funny. This is giving me flashbacks to like literally just a few months ago. There was an old, the company has been shut down basically. I mean, they don't exist anymore. They went bankrupt. Of this old robot vacuum, kind of like a Roomba. It's not a Roomba. Same situation. The thing runs on Linux. And in order to run the vacuum, you had to have the app. Now, they don't support the app anymore because it costs them money to host on app stores. And so the app doesn't exist anymore. And their cloud services for doing all of their connection does not exist anymore. So this robot vacuum was pretty much useless. And now this is on campus. And so the shop owner, he comes up and he goes, "Hey, I have this old vacuum," and he's like, and I just it'd make me giddy to see it run around at midnight and clean up the wood shop. And I said, well, that's got to be pretty funny. So I was on that project for a few days, and it was the same situation. You plug into it, although this one was locked down. I actually couldn't get to the Linux base system without some significant hacking, which I didn't have time to do. So I didn't, and kind of did a roundabout way to get it to work. But it was the same situation where it will not work unless it gets to talk to its cloud.
Mhm.
I was able to do a little bit of work on with this one, but receiving a kill code from an active company for I assume it's not a discontinued product, is insane. And even if it were discontinued, like why? There's no reason that they should be removing functionality from a device someone bought.
They punish you for not talking back to their data collection service. So yeah, I've heard it said that data is the new oil, right? And that's what I don't think anybody really understands yet. We don't know what this metadata the vacuums could harvest from our house. We all have privacy concerns. Like, why are you capturing my Ring doorbell? Why are you getting telemetry from my car where I drive? Who cares, right? We don't know what the soft targets are.
Now, on other
I don't wanna find out.
applications, I know that there's a lot of times I install an application and it will have a privacy notification that they would, and it's a request of the user to give permission because they want to collect data. They want to see how it is you use the program and be able to analyze that and say, well, the users are using it in such a way that maybe we don't support that 100% yet, or maybe we could better support that. And so it helps them plan for future releases so that they can improve the program and meet the user's needs. I could see a device like this sending the telemetry, and we're talking about like it's mapping out the rooms, right? It's recording basically its vacuum pattern and saying, okay, it went into a room, the room overall size was 10 feet by 15 feet and whatever, right? There could be a whole variety of things that it's recording at that time, which essentially, if put into the right program, you could distill that down and say, oh, I've mapped out your entire house based on the path of this robot. But I'm sure that there's instances where they don't have every scenario programmed into the robot. Like, what happens if it comes up to a staircase? What happens if it comes up to, dog poo, something like that? Like, there's just a variety of things that it has the ability to detect that, but it doesn't know what to do because it thinks, well, everybody lives in the same kind of house. No, everybody does not live in the same kind of house. There's this thing's going into the wild and we don't know all the possibilities. Therefore, we need to collect information to know what the possibilities are. I can see that being the reason why they would want to collect this data. Now, is it right? I think it should be just like the applications I install on my computer. They should politely ask, do you want to participate in our improvement program and share your anonymous data with us? Yes,
I can
or
immediately
no?
say no.
Right.
Well,
And let the
but
user
they do.
decide.
They put it in the agreement.
Does. Maybe somebody does want to participate. They can say yes, and then they know it's on them. But to just do it anyway without asking, I think that's wrong.
Yeah, it's in the user agreement that you surrender your rights, you agree to arbitration for your robot vacuum descending the stairs rapidly, which, you know, you agreed. Not explicitly. I mean, it's just you suffering the case of the default check boxes, which studies have said, there was a country that did this. Something like 83% of people, when presented with a default option, choose the default option. They don't modify it. They just
Because
hit
they
next,
don't
yeah,
have
sure,
time.
whatever.
They don't have time to read through it and understand it. They're just like, look, I just want to get the thing running.
And I can appreciate that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But to have my house mapped out, is that really a risk? Well, who needs to know that? There's so much data about us, and we don't know where data is gonna end up, or worse yet, it's gonna end up in data brokers and get resold. For instance, cars. The insurance companies were buying the telemetry from cars coming off of, the built-in entertainment systems. They would tell if you're accelerating too fast, decelerating, taking hard turns, over speed limit, that kind of thing. Data brokers were selling that to insurance companies. GM actually caught wind of that misuse of the intended data and shut off that flow of data. So they're not selling it to, I'm not gonna call it the group. They stopped selling to third parties because they didn't want insurance rates going up. Plus, it was bad publicity for them. It's like,
Yeah, think about
drive our
that.
car. We'll tell everybody how you do it.
But I will say that a lot of other companies are not as scrupulous as that.
It's true.
I just can't imagine why anyone would want the bad publicity. Because we have never heard of data sharing. And I'm just going to call it sharing for right now, even though in a lot of cases it could be, selling for money or whatever. But data sharing has never been seen in a good light that I can imagine. And so why would anyone want to risk getting caught? Like, it's not hard for anyone to stick their device on a network and sniff the network to know what is being sent out or coming in, even for that matter, to that device.
Well, that's where unintended consequences, I think, is where we're heading. Like, GM was getting paid money for this data. Okay, sure, let's take an extra couple $100 million. I don't know how much it was, but nobody thought it through. Why is that data worth as much as it is, right? Nobody knows. I don't know, it's one of those things. I don't wanna get political on this, but I think privacy should be the lighthouse for all decisions. We shouldn't have an open book in everybody's life in everyday in the day-to-day movements of everybody. That's just a little too microscopish for me.
Yeah, I think privacy just I feel like it's every week. Every time we do this podcast, there's something new that's like trying to take a stab at, our just day-to-day privacy. Like with
Yep.
this vacuum and there's always those people who are like, "Oh, well, what do I care like if it has a map of my house, you know? What do you think that they're going to come rob me?" I was like, "Well, maybe not, but you combine that with all the other smart devices you have in your house and all this data they have on you. Well, now they've got a profile of you, and they're going to start targeting you with ads and with all these products and all these things. And so you become the product, right? And it's degrading.
Well,
And
yeah.
I
The
mean, it's just
vacuum
it's
the vacuum
go ahead.
notices that you've got a hardwood floor, so it starts giving you ads for, floor wax.
Mhm.
That's like
Well,
what
in some ways, and let me take the antithetical approach just for a second, because I like playing devil's advocate. I almost want more targeted ads. I want something that's more intelligent, actually tell me what's useful to me, and not useless junk I will never use. That's a waste
Right.
of advertisers' dollars, and it's a waste of my time.
I mean, right now on one of my streaming stations, I get nothing but prescription drug ads for maladies that, first of all, I've never even heard of. Second, nobody in my family has a problem with. Like, we do not suffer from that
It's
at
because you
all.
bought Advil once.
And yet I'm being advertised for this thing and this thing that cures this. But, don't forget all the side effects that could possibly happen, But and even at that, prescription ads are actually a unique breed too, because it's not like they can directly sell it to you. You still have to go through your doctor and get a prescription and determine if that's even the right kind of a medication anyway. But I would much rather do away with those. I would rather see, like, okay, so I talked to my kids about candy, and so now I see a bunch of candy ads. At least that would make sense to me.
I mean, that's like saying hyperactivity is a side effect of candy. It's no. These aren't side effects to the drugs. These are effects.
Right. But
It's all
yeah,
consequence.
but these drugs have nothing to do with me. It's unintelligent advertising. I would much rather see something that, like I want to see something that I could possibly use, something that's applicable in my life. But at the same time, do I want to share my life story with these companies in order to get those targeted ads? No, I don't think so.
Here's what I want to know. I would love to run an experiment, but then this would break several laws. So
Let's do it.
I need
All
like
for the name of science.
I need a doppelganger who can just live his life, sacrifice his privacy, and just give all the data. Because Mike, like I assume you're pretty well-minded and you don't give your data out to all these companies that are asking for it, and so you're like,
No,
well, I get all these crappy ads,
no.
and the algorithm just gets they get your basic info and they make a very general assumption, maybe based on your IP address or whatever. For some reason, it thinks you're decrepit and need a ton of medication, and that's what.
Well,
it's
there are a
stuck.
lot of older people in my neighborhood, so maybe, I don't
Maybe.
know, maybe.
Who knows, right? So it's probably making these assumptions based on what little data they have. Now, I would love to run an experiment if it meant that I could go back and erase it all myself and just give it all the data that I just say yes to everything, yes to all the cookies, yes to everything.
Paint the
And
huge
just,
red target on yourself and
yeah, just let it
here
go,
I
right?
am.
Here
Take
I
me.
am. And I wonder if, I mean, would my online browsing experience be augmented, right? Would my streaming be, maybe I wouldn't mute the ads, maybe I'd be like, oh, that's kind of a good ad. Maybe I do want to see that or whatever. Now, if you were to spend money on every ad you saw, then you would be very quickly out of money. But assuming you enjoyed everything you saw, these ads, and they were relevant, I wonder if it's would be worth it to someone. It still wouldn't be worth it to me, I don't think. But I would love to see this
Well, I
experiment.
mean,
And I'd be
that's
interested to know if there's someone who's maybe watching who always says yes. And they're like, yeah, I don't ever care. And so I just let it happen. And I wonder if they feel like they've got ads that are well targeted to them and it's less annoying than, I don't know, not having that, right?
that'd be a fun conversation. Go ask people, hey, do you care? Do you just fill out all things? Do you have all the coupon plugins for your browser? Do you know, have you surrendered your free will to the machine?
There's got to be
And just
someone
see if
out
they've
there.
got
Oh,
a
wow, there's so many people out there that do that and they just don't know.
yep. Well, speaking of don't know, I don't know if Microsoft has any idea what they're doing with DNS better than Amazon. So again, we're recording just a day before we go live with this. It's how we roll. Um, we haven't heard what happened with Microsoft in its final form yet. We've heard the speculation. They're saying it's one of the front end services is got a DNS glitch. Um, it's like I was getting deja vu all over again with
It's a week
Amazon.
later.
At least
Like,
with the Amazon one, it seemed like it just affected websites and probably apps that rely on, retrieving data from those servers.
yeah,
Otherwise, you could still function even on a computer. You could still function. Yeah, you can't go to certain websites or maybe a certain app on your phone is broken, but you can still get some work done. But
half the internet was broken.
this sounds worse in that I may not even be able to get into my computer to work.
You didn't want to work
So-
today, did you, Mike?
Hey, somebody else causes a reason for a day off. Hey, great. Take the day off.
Yeah,
So-
until you're on site like me with a customer who's needing 3 laptops set up, and I can't.
Right?
Wait, so what was the actual issue? Like, what's down? What went down? Because as far as on my end, I haven't experienced any issues. So I was unbeknownst to this.
So my personal experience on this, couldn't get authentication to run, couldn't get Microsoft identities to apply to the machines because the authentication was down. You could log into web services. Eventually, it rolled in, but it took 5 or 10 minutes for it to actually connect through to the servers. It was just really, really slow. At first, I thought it was a misconfigured laptop, and so I started digging into that, and it's like, on my computer, I started searching, "Hey, I need this. What about this?" When, all the Microsoft services were running. But when I log on this other computer I'm setting up, it's slow and dumb. So, okay, problem with the laptop, right? Well, then I start downloading some of the reinstall resources, and Microsoft's website was unavailable. Okay,
Uh-oh.
I'll bet you Microsoft has an issue. So that's how I discovered Microsoft had an issue today.
So, well, John, if you're just setting up a new laptop, can't you just make a local account? It's Windows 11. Surely
did.
you can.
Yeah, I did.
You were able to. Because
And
I
I'm not
saw.
gonna explain it because I've watched a couple of YouTube channels get their videos taken down for explaining how to do it.
No, oh my
Oh, yeah.
gosh. Well, that was
No,
something I saw.
They're pointing to that. I don't know if it's true or false. No warranty expressed. Void were prohibited. I'm not here. I'm not saying these things.
Well,
I
there
thought all
was
the different hacks for local account are still working. It's going to be in the next release, though, once they've finished the beta on it. It's the beta version of the next release coming out, right? That takes them out.
They keep trying to take it out, and then people find ways. But I'll say this: today really punctuates the need for redundancy at a local level.
Mm-hmm.
The cloud is not always there.
Right.
Mm-mm.
Starlink's not always there. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, it just seems so backwards to just remove the ability to create a local account. They make it so hard, and it's like it just makes no sense. Like it's literally like you don't own the device. It's like you have rented something and you have to log into their system to even use it, which is ridiculous.
makes
And then when
perfect
they
sense.
charge $1,000, $2,000 for a laptop.
Oh, here's another one for you. Microsoft has said, and they're putting it out in the Teams announcement, that Teams will be Wi-Fi aware. Not the one that you're on, but the Wi-Fi's that you're nearby, and can report back to your IT group. You're at the office, you're at your home office, you're at Starbucks, you're at a hotel, because the Wi-Fi's that are nearby geolocate you to that location.
This is why I like wired connections.
And you have to shut off the Wi-Fi for it to do it. But I don't know if Microsoft Teams will turn it on to sense what's nearby just for telemetry. They're not real clear what it's going to do. They're saying right now it's an opt-in feature by the end user, and your organization administrator has to turn it on too in 365. But
So here's the thing. Does
yeah,
that, like, what if I'm using a VPN? Does that basically just send my location?
yeah,
Hey, before
because your
we
VPN will,
segue into
your
Artie,
Wi-Fi will sense where you're at and report that through the VPN back to Microsoft Teams.
but
That's
that's
so
the thing
funny.
on a wired connection. If you still have a Wi-Fi adapter, it would still be able to sense that.
Yeah, right.
And furthermore, there's a lot of laptops now that you don't get an Ethernet RJ45 Ethernet jack anymore.
True. You know how long I spent I recently had to shop for a laptop for myself. I spent so long looking for a laptop that I could replace RAM on, the storage, and had an Ethernet port and had an HDMI. Holy cow, you have to win the lottery to get one of those.
Yep.
It was so hard, but I found one. It was a discontinued model. They were still selling it, and it was from Lenovo, and it was like a miracle. And that it's been great. I ordered it. I ordered it with no operating system, no nothing. I gave it 8 gigs of RAM, and I said I'll do it all myself. And you can save a ton of money. But I mean,
You
the thing
should have
is,
talked to me, Jackson.
I probably should have.
Framework.
Oh, I know about Framework. I love Framework, but they're expensive.
But you bought a Lenovo.
That's it's been great. I didn't buy. I bought one of the business class ThinkPads. Like, you gotta give me some credit. Did some research, and it's been a good workhorse. It's been good.
I'll give you credit. You're in college. You need to spend your money there instead of on the best tech.
No, give Framework another couple of years. They're getting thinner, getting better, and yeah, once I have a little extra chunk of change to spend, I will definitely be getting me one of those.
They can now upgrade the motherboard on those things.
I saw that.
They've proven it. It's been a thing. Like, you can always upgrade your motherboard, but then they did a generational upgrade, and the rest of the accessories and the frame itself could accept that upgraded motherboard. So they just proved a generational increase.
Nice. I've only seen one, and it was funny because I thought it was a MacBook. So I mean, they're getting to that, and I say MacBook because it's a nice metal frame. It's and it was thin enough, like, where I didn't believe it was a framework for a second, because I remember when I learned a framework, years and years ago, it was like, oh, this is so cool. It's like, oh, cool, and then they're like, yeah, but it's like a freaking brick. It's so thick. So yeah, it's exciting to see what they're doing with that on that regard.
And this is not sponsored. We're just fans.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The idea that you can swap out a display port for an HDMI port without having to buy another laptop, I am all about that.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, if anybody that's watching this hasn't seen it, go check out Framework. They're great. They will never do printers, much to our dismay.
You know
They want to make
what?
products
You
that
know
work.
what? If
That's
they
all.
did printers, their printers might actually work. We might actually be happy with them
Yeah,
if they were
there's
to
a video on that where the Framework CEO was challenged in an open forum on that question. Go
Yeah.
watch it. It's hilarious. But I don't want to distract too much. We actually need to switch over to the next before we run out of time because we can talk laptops and accessories for days.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to
Sorry,
hear
I
about
took us
this.
away from the whole thing, but go ahead.
Yeah, no. I love these rabbit holes. It's great. But I want to talk about the data center water.
Yes.
Amazon just got in trouble, right?
Yeah. Trouble with the world, not legal trouble as of now.
Legal trouble,
Um,
social trouble, ethic trouble.
all of the above. Not legal. I don't think. I haven't seen the legal things
not
happen yet.
yet.
Not yet. Maybe. Now, and I think this comes from a larger scope where people are realizing that these data centers aren't just free. They take a lot of electricity and they take a lot of water to cool the systems that are running nonstop. Amazon, with their Amazon Web Services, AWS, they're like the largest data center hosters ever, right? And so now it was leaked that they consumed 105 billion gallons, which is, for those in the EU, 397 billion liters of water in total in 2021. So that was 4 years ago now,
Let's just
crazy to
round
think
that
about.
number up. I mean, 390, might as well say 400 billion liters.
And you have no idea. Now this number is supposed to be primary and secondary sources. So all of their water use. It's supposed to be all of it. Who knows exactly what it is, but that was said to be the number. Which, by the way, is enough to supply almost 1 million U.S. households, which makes for a city bigger than San Francisco. So Amazon Web Services, that's their water usage for 2021. Now, immediately after this leaked document came out, Amazon is doing their damage control. They're saying, hey, these aren't final numbers. This isn't what we officially released. Those numbers don't reflect what may have actually come. There could have been errors in that document, and they
We fixed
immediately
our
are doing all
DNS
this.
server. The numbers are different.
Right. And this memo was actually released a month before they were debuting their new sustainability campaign, which came out in November 2022, called Water Positive. Now, they released that with a commitment to return more water than it uses, quote unquote, by 2030. Meaning, now I'll get to that. That doesn't make any sense.
I'm
They're
intrigued.
synthesizing water.
You have my attention. A data center making water.
Right. Now this is what's crazy. This is how they're saying they're going to do it. They're saying the strategy refers to projects to offset their water usage. So what that means is, we'll use our servers to help utility companies, make better pipes or plan stuff. So I mean, they're not actually returning any water. It's like, anyway, it's totally dumb. So then
we're going to use our AI to shut off the water to houses 5 minutes earlier than we normally would have.
Right. So here is what Amazon then released. Now, remember, original number 105 billion gallons. They released 7.7 billion gallons a year. Now, that number is primary use, which I'm trying to remember exactly what that means, and I can't find it here. But it's just a small portion, obviously, of what they use. So that might be like, the water used by the drinking fountains or something. I have no idea. I don't know
what was that
exactly
number again?
7.7 billion is primary use. Secondary use, primary and secondary combined, was 105 for 2021. And so Amazon is moving forward with this argument that we're only going to use the primary use, and we're going to cut primary use to 4.9 billion by 2030, and we're gonna return more water than we're primarily using by 2030. So that was their sustainability plan that they output after this document was released, or rather leaked. And they're sticking by like, nope, we're going to use this number. And granted, this the same type of a number that everyone else is using. Nobody's really reporting their full water usage. Now, Amazon got put into this rough situation because it was leaked. And so now we know actually, or we think we know exactly how much water they used in a year, which is absurd.
What was that first number again? The first one you reported?
105 billion gallons.
105 billion.
So not even a tenth was reported.
Makes me wonder what the secondary uses are for their water.
Right.
Water fountains and toilets.
Which is so minimal compared to cooling a data center. You know, I mean,
You could have 100 people showering 24/7 for an entire year, and it still wouldn't use that much.
is there any report on if they have systems? I imagine that a lot of it is lost to evaporation. Is there any way that they're reclaiming any of that moisture? But it's probably at a very, what's the word? There's probably a very low return on that.
Yeah. Well, and so that's exactly what they said. So I found the phrase here. By the way, this is coming from The Guardian for those who want to go find the original article. Secondary use is considered all water that is used in generating the electricity to power the data center. So primary use, which is what they're reporting, is just like
Cooling.
the use of like the building, like the actual water pipes. Now, secondary is everything. So the water that's actually used to power the building, to do the cooling and all of that. That's secondary use.
I think somebody's trying to split hairs and put things in the wrong column on that one. Because what is power?
Right.
Are we talking electrical generation? Are we talking watts of electricity produced? Because Amazon doesn't produce electricity.
To use water to produce electricity, there's really only two things you can do with it. You can either have it gravity fed, like a hydroelectric plant, or it's being converted to steam to run some kind of a turbine.
Mm-hmm.
Which means you also have to have some kind of a heat source too, which that's a whole other topic.
Yeah.
But then if you're converting it to steam, then that means you're changing its form. It's being changed to a gas. It's evaporating into the air.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you've got significant systems in place to try to capture that moisture and reclaim it. But even then, that's got to be quite a process and not cheap to do.
Right. And Amazon's not a water plant.
Right. It's
well, and that's so. I mean, we can probably get close to the heart of the issue here, but I think the revolving idea is data centers using a lot more water than we thought, and so we've been misled in the value proposition for data centers. We should have an informed opinion on these things. What are the tax breaks? What are the electric impacts for us? What are the water impacts? I mean, the environmentalists should be all over this.
Mm-hmm. Well, the other thing
I'm not advocating for that. I'm saying we with good data comes good decisions, and we should.
Well, and I would think that a lot of the concerns would be similar to the concerns that environmentalists have had about just power plants in general. Because if you're using water gets heated.
If you ever wanted to have a case where they're advocating for power plants, this would be it. Like, go back to that. We
I
want those now.
Yeah, I know. It's like, yeah, what are you doing to the environment? I mean, it's all the same arguments and all the same discussions and all the same concerns that you're making a significant impact on the environment one way or the other. Um, do we know how much wattage or heat do they have to take care of? Do they have to dissipate? I mean,
That I don't know. It's
Oh,
not
for
not
that
said
much
here.
usage of water, I mean,
I just saw I'll call out the channel, Serve the Home. They were doing an ASRock rack server.
mhm,
It was, I think, 8 rack units, and it used 12 kilowatts of electricity.
that sounds like a lot.
That is a
Yeah.
lot.
Jeez,
I mean,
that's
if you think
ridiculous.
about more than 1,000 watts per rack unit, and some of these
Mhm,
racks are 42 racks high, 42 units high,
mhm,
50 kilowatts per rack, and you got dozens and dozens of rack per aisle and dozens of aisles per data center.
right.
Mhm. And then there's the heat that they make, and then the cooling that you have to do for it. I mean, there's just so much that goes into these data centers. And
I know where to cook my
my
turkey this
question
Thanksgiving.
is, my question is, uh, excuse me, who's paying for it, right? That's the thing. AI is the new big thing, and everyone has that free access to use ChatGPT models or Google or whatever, you name it. Who's paying for all the processing that's going on?
Right now, it's investors. But at some point, that check's gonna come due.
Well, I think you were telling me as well before that a lot of these data centers are getting government subsidies, right?
Yes, and it or tax breaks or land easements or something. There's always an incentive that these data centers get because they're gonna create jobs, and I'm all for data centers, guys, but I think they should be sold at face value. They shouldn't be oversold for what they're not. The jobs that are created in a data center are not the network architects. It's not gonna be your system designers. It's gonna be your people that go in and do break fix on dead hard drives, CPU fails, power rail drops off on a rack. They're gonna be fixing problems that have a recipe on how to fix it that's architected by somebody that's not at that data center.
And a
You're
handful
gonna
of
have like
security
100
guards.
people, security,
Yeah.
maintenance, and if we're talking, let's ballpark it. $80,000 job, and you have 100 people. That's $8 million that the data center is putting back into the economy. That's not what we put into it to make the data centers work. There's a place in, I think, Virginia that they're starting to push back and say, "Hey, you got tax subsidies for 7 years. You're not paying taxes." That doesn't offset what you're putting back into the economy. Like, it's a losing bid,
Mhm.
and we're moving so fast at this. Again, if there's a takeaway on this, anybody that's listening, get involved at the local levels, get involved at the state levels, and have your voice heard. The fewer people there, the more voice you have, but bring friends, bring colleagues, bring the discussion and have those conversations and have a rational, civil discussion about, is this a good idea? Is this an informed idea? Guys, you're watching this, you've got a sense of what's tech. Our viewers are technically inclined. We understand this. I almost think it's an obligation of ours to get involved and share our thoughts at these conversations because we understand it better than the average person. We definitely understand it better than legislators.
Mm.
That's not
Speaking
hard.
of, let's use that as a springboard. I want to talk VPN law. Oh yes, Artie. we're coming over to your section. Again,
All right.
politics aside,
Yeah.
no partisanship. This is the law.
Yes. So there is a law that is being put forth in Michigan that is seeking to outlaw the use of VPNs. And the specific wording within the law states that ISPs are going to filter and block all VPN traffic. Now, regardless of anything else that's associated with the law, that right there says that all VPNs are going to be blocked. Now,
So you know that secure tunnel that you use to dial into your critical infrastructure and monitor the, water levels and the chemical additions that are going in there? That VPN is now illegal.
I want to know the background, like who had the idea, who said it, and who was the person who goes, I like that idea.
Again,
Like,
not to beat the horse.
It's
not to
somebody
beat the
that
dead
was
horse I had in the
told.
last segment. Get involved. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, it's somebody that was told that in a particular situation, somebody was breaking the law, doing some other activity, and one of the ways they're able to do it is by using a VPN. And so they got the idea, well, if we make it so VPNs are illegal, they can't do that anymore, right? Well, that may be true, but it's tell me you don't know how the internet works without telling me you don't know how the internet works. There are so many other uses for VPNs. We get the idea that it's advertised out there. These companies that do VPNs, they advertise the idea that you can sign up for their VPN service and browse the internet securely and anonymously, or be able to go to other places and get access back to your home state, your home country, or something like that, right? Well, that's one use. There are so many other uses for VPNs. And this needs to be reviewed a little bit more in detail with some security experts and IT experts and people who really know how it works. So that
people that they ignore when writing the laws.
Exactly. I mean, it's one of those things that it's a very blanket and broad shotgun approach at fixing a problem. I think that there is a better solution that could be more focused to solving whatever problem it is that they're. So Artie, do we know what exactly the problem is that they're trying to fix?
It's very similar to the Online Safety Act. They're trying to, I forget the name of the actual thing. They're claiming that it's a morality law. They're wanting to limit people's access to immoral content.
And again, I don't want to get into politics, but the society's morals change over time.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying. There's movements today that 50 years ago couldn't exist because that's not where society was. If we enshrined that societal approach in a law, we'd be in a way different world today.
Yeah,
So
I'd be
just saying, it's dangerous.
I'd be really interested to see the data on how much of internet traffic is VPN, and then how much of internet traffic. Go ahead.
Approximately 23% of all internet traffic is VPN, and approximately 90% of all business traffic is VPN.
That's exactly okay. That's what I wanted to hear.
Even at that 25-ish%, that's a significant chunk.
Yeah, my next question was going to be, of that 25%, how much of that percentage is business and how much is personal? And then the next question would be, okay, or private, I should say. And then if it's private, how much of that is for, tech nerds like us that are doing cool stuff, and how much of that are people streaming UK Netflix, right? Because I think that's in the private realm, that's where all the VPN companies are advertising. That's what and I've seen ads for it. They're like, hey, want to stream stuff from the UK on Netflix or whatever? Well, just get our VPN and then you can do it. And that's the appeal. That's the private appeal that I see, and that's where their money's going. But the business side is a totally different face, completely different. And like you just
and
said
it's
already,
not
like
it's not
90%.
it's not just business. If you go to a hotel, and I've helped people that the point of attack was a man in the middle attack at a hotel where you connect into the open Wi-Fi at your fill in the blank hotel, sign it to Microsoft 365, do some emails, and now your credentials are in the hands of bad guys. We've actually shut down a couple of these. Um, and it's sad to see people get compromised that way, but that's the fact of life.
My last
VPN
job,
would save you.
true story. My last job, coworkers had to go to a certain country that is known for not being a team player when it comes to privacy. Okay. But it was for a certain business deal that we were looking at getting into. The people that we were working with to coordinate our travel and everything over there, and we're going to meet them when they got there, said, get signed up on some kind of a VPN because you do not want to just use the network here. That's a bad idea. Get a VPN. If you have to do communications to get back home, you better be on a VPN. I mean, it's a matter of security and vital security for some people if they're traveling and in other places where there's certain risks. So I don't think it's fair that you can just say, well, we're just going to outlaw it completely. I mean, there's a better way. It's like I said, a shotgun approach to a problem that really just needs a very surgical, specific requirement.
Yeah. And
we took down the Silk Road with good police work.
Mm-hmm.
That was a dark web, hidden service. Can't get to the guy. We got him anyways. It can be done.
Yeah.
Already, I cut you off.
I was going to say there's a lot of when I was looking into this, I was trying to think of, well, what are the things that are going to be impacted by this? Because, if you've got your critical infrastructure, you've got operational technology that, the technicians, they don't want to be at the plant all the time, so they will VPN into the plant to get access to the machines. There's also the fact that some of those devices, like you've got, say, a dam 20 miles down the river and a secondary dam that's an overflow. One's communicating to the other, and it's not doing it over the internet unsecurely. It's tunneling to the other one, and if those things don't communicate properly, that is going to cause. I mean, people are going to die in that situation. If there is a malfunction on a dam on a river, there's a very good chance there's going to be repercussions.
I could think of 100 ways where it could go bad if you don't have that. You'd have to change basically the way we do everything. All the blessings and promises of IT making the world a better place goes away if you can't be remote. But unfortunately, I do want to kind of switch to the next topic because I gotta get back to this, guys. Russia has just put out, and I want to get your take on this, put out requirement that if you're a white hat hacker and you find a vulnerability in something, you have to disclose it to their regulatory agency. So like us, we would have to report to CISA. So I find a hack, it works, I have to report it. Doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter how severe it is, and I can't disclose to the world until there's a patch.
That ruins all the fun.
What
So it
what
would
are
be
they going to do with it once you report it to them?
Mhm.
so it would be kind of
And
along the
that's
lines of how China functions.
exactly. And that's the question is, what are they going to do with it? The speculation is now the government would have, or the regulatory agency would have a whole library of known working attacks, and they would know what is not patched.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
From a
I
nation state kind of perspective, that's a
Yeah,
powerful resource.
it's better to turn on the lights and expose for everybody, so everybody sees the cockroaches in the room before they scatter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, uh, because even like on 0 days, that when there's not necessarily a patch yet, the awareness alone is enough so that people can mitigate through other means until the patch is available. You know, and
Now, what about because I know there's situations where maybe you find a bug or you find a vulnerability, you don't necessarily want to release that to the public, but you do want to let the company know, right? Or is it always best practice to just release it?
No, 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 no. The best practice, white hat ethical hackers. Um, you contact the company. I was actually at a DEF CON conference where they talked about these things. So we're rolling back to DEF CON 0A, which was 10. These two guys, they got up and said, we found these vulnerabilities. We found this. We found this. Here's the documentation process. We called. We got tickets. We called them again. We got tickets. We called them again. We got more tickets. It's been 9 months. They're not doing anything. So they don't care. Here you go.
I think it is right that you have to give the company a chance to respond and to get a patch
Mhm.
out. Because a patch really is, if a patch fixes it and is the best thing to fix it, then it needs to be patched. And if it's
Yep.
proprietary code, then only the company that published it can really do that.
Mhm. And
But
maybe the
that's a
company
great
will
example
do.
that if they're unresponsive and now it's going on, week 1, week 2, week 3, month 1, month 2, whatever it is, and the people who are exploiting it certainly aren't going to stop and wait, and here, let me give you a chance to catch up. No, I'm going to hack your system as soon as I can. So people need to know about it as soon as they can so they can protect themselves as soon as they can.
Mhm. I'm in agreement, guys.
And I'm reminded of the thing that we talked about last week with Unity. I
Mhm.
mean, they did something that few companies actually do. They went the extra mile to make sure that everybody was protected after this was released, saying, "Hey, here's this thing, you can use it to patch old programs that use this code," and it patched it over and made it safe so that it wasn't exploitable anymore.
Mhm.
Yep. Well, forgive me, guys. I think we're at the bottom of the hour.
Definitely.
We'll have to pick this up next time. I think we should get into this a little bit more next time also. Just the ethical hackers, what do they do? How do they function? How do they bring, like you say, Mike, how do they shine a light to scatter the cockroaches? And do the laws that we're making circumvent the ethical hacker? Tune in next time as we dive into that. Until then, I'm John.
And Mike,
Jackson.
I'm watching the time.
Somebody has to. Thanks for doing that, Artie.